Hey everybody, I'm Scott Wikle. You're listening to My Kind of Country. Thanks for joining us on a Monday night. Man, I always enjoyed talking to this gentleman tonight, and he's got a beautiful young lady with him tonight. They have just recorded a beautiful duet, and it is so hard to believe it's the 40th anniversary of this song, You're the Reason God Made Oklahoma, but it's true. And we've got them both with us tonight. We're going to talk about the brand new version, play it for you, and a little bit of history for you, too. It's an honor to welcome Mary Sarah and the great David Frizzell to My Kind of Country. How you guys doing tonight?
Hello. We're so good.
Yeah, glad to be here, buddy.
Well, it's good to talk to you both. We finally got you in the same room, and we got a chance to do this. I'm so excited.
Yeah, we're happy to be a part of this.
Well, my honor to have you. Mary Sarah, I want to talk a little bit about your career before we get to talking about this great duet. I first became aware of you some years ago when you released a wonderful duets album, and you sang with the great Merle Haggard, and that's what first drew my ear to your voice.
I did. That record was incredible. I started. I was 15 when we started that record, and the first legend to accept to be a part of it was actually Miss Dolly Parton herself. And so I got to be in the studio with her at 15, and I learned so much through that record. We spent about 3.5 years working on that, and getting to work with Willie and like you said, Merle. And I even got to do some shows with Willie, which was really, really awesome.
Oh, man.
Yeah, so, and I actually, when working with Merle, I remember it was out in a small town in Texas. I can't exactly remember the little city, but it was just like a fair festival thing, and he had me come down, and I kid you not, I felt fine the whole car ride there. I get there, and my allergies just go crazy, and I could not sing. I remember my throat swelled up. I was having like a panic attack. Merle's up there singing his songs. He's gonna pull me out there, and I'm just like, what am I gonna do? I just kept praying. I said, Lord, if there's any voice in me, you pull it out. Like, you bring it out. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but I also knew I'm not gonna miss the opportunity to sing with Merle Haggard. So whatever was gonna happen was gonna happen. But it ended up working out really well, and I ended up pulling whatever voice I had, but it was incredible, and to get to kind of get to work with him and see the behind the scenes for a show too was really, really awesome. But yeah, that whole record was just amazing.
I hear people talking bad about the way we have to live here in this country, harping on the wars we fight and griping about the way things ought to be. I don't mind them switching sides and standing up for things that they believe in. When they're running down my countrymen, they're walking on the fighting side of me. They're walking on the fighting side of me, running down the way of life our fighting men have fought and died to keep. If you don't love it, leave it. Let this song that I'm singing be a warning. When you're running down my country house, you're walking on the fighting side of me.
I read about some squirrely guy who claims he just don't believe in fighting, and I wonder just how long the rest of us can count on being free. They love our milk and honey, but they preach about some other way to live in. When they're running down our country house, they're walking on the fighting side of me.
They're walking on the fighting side of me, running down the way of life our fighting men have fought and died to keep. If you don't love it, leave it. Let this song that I'm singing be a warning. When you're running down my countrymen, you're walking fighting side of me.
You're walking on the fighting side of me. Running down the way of life, I'm fighting men who fought and died to keep. If you don't love it, leave it. Let this song that I'm singing be a warning. When you're running down my country, man, you're walking on the fighting side of me. When you're running down our country horse, you're walking on the fighting side of me.
Jolene, 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 I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 please don't take him just because you can. Your beauty is beyond compare with flaming locks of auburn hair, with ivory skin and eyes of emerald green. Your smile is like a breath of spring, your voice is soft like summer rain, and I cannot compete with you, Jolene. He talks about you in his sleep, there's nothing I can do to keep from crying when he calls your name, Jolene, Jolene. And I can easily understand how you could easily take my man, but you don't know what it means to me, Jolene, 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 Jolene. I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 please don't take him just because you can. You could have your choice of man, but I can never love again. He's the only one for me, Jolene. I had to have this talk with you. My happiness depends on you, and whatever you decide to do, Jolene, 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 Jolene. I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 please don't take him just because you can.
Well, I'm so glad that you were able to do that album, Mary Sarah. It's a beautiful album. I know you were friends with Freddie Powers too, and
Yes.
got to know him real well. He was traveled with Haggard for many years, and of course, David was dear friends with Merle, and we've had a lot of great conversations and stories about Merle Haggard. And of course, Merle's biggest influence was definitely Lefty Frizzell, and he and David were friends for so many years. And David, I know that it's country music history for you is so important, and this beautiful lady Mary Sarah is really carrying on that history, and I really love what you're doing together.
Well, I tell you what, you mentioned about singing with Merle, and I remember one of the times it comes back to me. Me and Shelley West and all but Brother Allen was doing a show in Merle's place there out of Reading. there on the lake where you got the houseboat and all that. And we're doing a show there, and I'm singing "That's the Way Love Goes," a song my brother Lefty and Whitey Schaefer wrote. That's the way love goes. What a great song! And I was singing it, and all of a sudden Merle walks on the stage, and he starts singing it with me.
Wow!
And so yeah, just singing with the great Merle Haggard though. Well, that's when she talked about the singing with Merle, that came to me about how I was up on the stage singing with him too. Just a great guy. I grew up listening to and learning everything from my big brother Lefty, but I realized that I wasn't the only one. Merle was another one that really loved the sound and that Lefty could get from that incredible voice. And I tell you, we learned also a lot from the way Lefty would write songs. And Lefty would tell me, he says, "Now, David, you got to write a song where every musician around the country can play it the first time they hear it."
There you go.
I said, "Sonny," I call Lefty Sonny. I said, "Sonny, you don't know the same musicians I do." Oh man, but yeah, he taught us an awful lot. But I realize now that I'm not the only one that he taught. Keith Whitley's a good idea. Randy Travis is another really good idea. But me and Merle's the ones that I recall that had Lefty down.
Well, let's talk about this brand new duet. First of all, David, give me a little bit of the history of "You're the Reason God Made Oklahoma." How did that song get into your hands, and how did you get to record with Shelley West on this song?
Well, I tell you, my brother Alan had been out here in Nashville. Well, I was working out of the Bakersfield area with the great Buck Owens and that organization he had out of Bakersfield, and that's where I was at. But Alan had been fronting Dottie West's shows, and Shelley was doing backgrounds for her mom. And somehow or other they connected and left and came and ended up in Bakersfield with me. Came out there and they came out and I heard her sing. Alan brought Shelley into my house there out of the Bakersfield area. And it was about 10 o'clock one morning, and I'm in my music room, and he walks up, opens the door, and I hadn't seen him in a year or so. He'd been out here in Nashville, and working with Lefty actually at some points of that. But anyway, he came in and he said, "David, this is Shelley West." He looked over at her and he said, "Sing for him." She sang a cappella. Bartender's Blues. I don't know if you ever heard it.
George Jones, you bet.
She sang it. Yeah, she sang it a cappella right there, standing up there in that doorway. And I thought, man, this is amazing. We got to do something here. So anyway, I started taking them on tour with me, and she learned how to play the bass a little bit, and Alan played guitar, and I played. And we ended up putting a little band together. But there was a song came along that Whitey Schaefer had written and sent to me. And Whitey Schaefer, one of the great songwriters you know, out of Nashville here, and sent me a song called "Darling, Will You Marry Me Again?" This is way back 40 years ago or better. Anyway, so I took her in the studio, in Buck Owens' studio, and we recorded that and a few other songs. And I, in the meantime, had found out how to get a hold of Snuff Garrett, who was doing soundtracks for the great Clint Eastwood and Burt Reynolds and those kind of guys who's making those movies. And so I talked to Snuff. I sent him a song that we went in and recorded, "Darling, Will You Marry Me Again?" and sent it to Snuff. And I sent it down there to him. About 2 days after he got it, he called me back. He said, "David, man, I love what you sound like." And he said, "But you didn't send me any pictures. Send me some pictures of what y'all look like. If you look anything like the sound, I'm going to make you do the country. I'm going to make you into Sonny and Cher country music." So we sent him some pictures, and then he played the song "Oklahoma" for Clint Eastwood, and they put it in a movie called "Any Which Way You Can," along with Clyde the Orangutan, and Frizzell and West had their first #1 record.
You mentioned "Darling, Will You Marry Me Again?" and a little bit of trivia for folks that may not know this. If you listen to that song, when you hear the guitar break in that's the great Merle Haggard playing that.
That's right. That's true. We actually recorded it, and when we did the stuff with Snuff Garrett, and Hag was in there, and I said, "Bring a guitar in here." So he played that guitar with us and played that song with us. And then on that same session, at that time, I recorded a song called "A Little Bit of Lefty Left in Me," and Merle sang with me on it a little bit, played some guitar on it, but actually sang with me on it.
Yeah.
And so it's just some good times with Merle.
Well, Lefty was my brother, as most of you folks know. And he handed down his singing style like he handed down his clothes. And you might hear his echo as you listen to me sing. There's a little bit of Lefty left in me. I grew up in the shadow of his legend and his fame. And I'm proud to wear his singing style, and I'm proud to share the name. But I'm not a living legend, just a living legacy. There's a little bit of Lefty left in me. There's a lot of country singers that were moved by Lefty songs. You know that even Mighty Merle can curl one note real long. Yeah, but Dave, I had to learn it. You came by it naturally. There's a little bit of Lefty left in me. Well, I've been known to hang out till they close the barroom down. Yeah, I've been known to hold on when they're tossing whiskey down. And a high-heel honey can turn my head and make my knees go weak. There's an awful lot of Lefty left in me. Now there's a lot of country singers that were moved by Lefty songs. You know that even Mighty Merle can curl one note real long. Yeah, but Dave, I had to learn it. You came by it naturally. There's a little bit of Lefty left in me. There's a little bit of Lefty left in me.
It was Mom and Daddy's anniversary. You hugged my mom and shook my daddy's hand.
It had been 3 years since you left me, and it was so good to see you once again. And I don't know how you knew I'd stopped drinking. It felt so good to kiss and hold the kid.
Never seen so many eyes start crying
When you said,
darling, will you marry me again?
we all held each other tightly, as if we knew the world was going to end.
Never seen so many eyes start crying
When you said,
darling, will you marry me again?
darling,
There was a little bit of controversy on this song, and maybe you can explain this a little better to me. Felice Bryant and Bluto Bryant were the writers of the song Rocky Top, and they had claimed a copyright infringement because they said that the tune was similar to their song Rocky Top. What was the story behind that?
I'll tell you what happened. I was doing the Ralph Emery show here in Nashville after we had the #1 record on the song, and I came to Nashville, and I was on his show. And he looked at me and he said, David, do you know that if you take and you speed that song up, you speed Oklahoma up, if you speed it up, he said it sounds like Rocky Top. And I said, well, I've never speeded it up. I never had a chance to speed that record up or play the song that fast. And anyway, I was with Snuff Garrett when he got a message from them that they were going to sue him about the infringement. And but I never have in all these years, 40 years now, and I have never took and put that on a 78 speed ever. So I still don't know. But Snuff just said, okay, we'll give him that. Now Snuff was an amazing man anyway. And so that's what happened. If you speed that record up, they claim that it sounds like Rocky Top.
All right. Well, I'll have to try that.
Maybe it does. Maybe it does. I don't know.
I've never done it either. We'll have to try that. I thought that was interesting. Well, anyway, flashing forward, it's been 40 years since that song was released, and you have recorded a beautiful new version of this with Mary Sarah. And Mary Sarah, tell me how you and David got together to do this song.
David and I had the opportunity. It was right before the craziness of COVID happened. Him and I got to meet at a show here in Nashville, and David was headlining the show, and I just happened to be able to sing a few songs with a couple other artists to open up. And I get up there and I sing my 2 songs, and I remember walking right down the steps right off of the stage when I was done, and David was standing right at the bottom of the steps, and he just literally wrapped me in a hug and just was like, girl, we got to work together. We got to do something together. And a little backstory, for me, I grew up singing You're the Reason God Made Oklahoma. I grew up in Texas, and so I would sing in the Opries of Texas. So classic country and traditional country was kind of ingrained at a young age with me. And my dad is a lover of it, too. And so him and I would actually sing You're the Reason God Made Oklahoma since I was like 8 or 9 years old. Wow. And so when David wrapped me in a hug and was like, we need to work together, I was dying on the inside. I was freaking out. And I brought my dad with me to that show, and I ran over to him and I said, you're not going to believe this, but David Frizzell just said he wants to work with me. And so my dad, of course, being the country jukebox that he is, he knew that the 40th anniversary was coming up for You're the Reason God Made Oklahoma. And he said to me, he said, well, why don't you guys just do like a new rendition of it or something just to celebrate? And so we took that to David's team and David, and they were so excited and so pumped to do it. And so we ended up pulling in an amazing producer, Bart Butler, some incredible musicians here in Nashville, Mike Johnson, Janae Fleener, just you name it. And we've come up with this really amazing rendition of it just to celebrate 40 years of an amazing song. So we didn't have to do much to it at all. The song's already stood the test of time, so there's not really much you have to do to a song like that. We gave it a little bit of I think we sped up the tempo just a tad.
Well, it sounds fabulous. And David, of course, you're singing just as great as ever. Folks, you can go to Spotify and Apple Music and download the song. There's also a great video on YouTube of the song. There's also a great acoustic performance that you guys did together, too, that I love.
I love it, Scott. You know all the things.
I tell you what, we was doing that show that you mentioned, and I got the place we was going to do the show at, and I went through the back door, went in the dressing room, and all of a sudden I heard this incredible voice, and then somebody who was up on the stage, and I listened to that, and I kept listening. Finally, I found myself at the foot of those stairs, where everybody else was wrapped around the bandstand as well. But that voice brought me out of the back room, and I went out and she came down. I just had to hug her up. So we got to figure out we got to sing something together. You're amazing, and so that's how it all started. And you know what? I think even now, especially if we've done this a couple of times, if we get a chance to get out there on the road someplace, and maybe up there where you are, Scott.
We need to get back up here, yeah.
We need to do that. And I tell you what, the house is going to break apart when this young lady walks out on that stage, because she when I seen her, it did me the same way. You're going to love her.
Well, I tell you,
David, you are so sweet. You always make me feel like the coolest person in the world.
I'm giving you that spot now because you're it.
Oh,
Tag, you're it.
Tag, you're it.
well, I could tell you from personal experience, Mary Sarah, that when you are working with the Frizzells, you are working with not only the nicest people you could ever hope to meet, but the most talented. And David, you mentioned all these wonderful musicians and producers. Every time I've been around David and been blessed to be working in that environment with him, he always has the very best people, and they are so nice, and you feel so uplifted every time you get to spend time with these wonderful people. So I applaud you for that.
That's exactly how I feel, Scott.
I got to tell you guys this. I had written a song called Lefty Merle and Me, and I'm up there singing this some time back, and Scott's there. And so I'm up there singing this song, Lefty Merle and Me, tribute to my brother and also to my great friend Merle. And Scott's there. I said, Scott, come on out here. Scott came out there and sang the back half of that song.
Yeah, you talked about.
Hey, Scott, it's like, we're lucky you knew all the words to it.
You talk about putting somebody on the spot. Then the next night he says, "Hey, we're going to do that again." So
I'm like, hey, someone had to have taken a video of this. There's got to be evidence. I got to see it.
I hope somebody did. I don't know. I sure hope somebody did.
Yeah, we got. I think we got it. We put it on YouTube. I'll have to share that. We put that on. Yeah.
I don't think I've even seen it.
Well, that's it's great at your part. It sounds fantastic. You just kind of skip through mine, and it sounds really good.
God, I love you, buddy. You're a great friend.
I can't believe that. I cut my teeth on the hard things lay with your kisses. Mom and Dad once, and I found
folks, davidfrizzell.com is David's website. marysarah.com is Mary Sarah's website. And I encourage you to go there and check out their other fantastic music. And, of course, we're going to play this brand new version of You're the Reason God Made Oklahoma. And, Mary Sarah, I've got one more question for you. Have you had a chance to meet Shelley, and what does she think of this new version?
Oh my gosh, I haven't yet gotten the chance to meet Shelley, and I'm not too sure. David, you got to reach out and ask her how she feels about it. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It really was one of those things going in there that I love Shelley West, and so I really was just kind of praying. I was just like, Lord, you know what? I just want to pay respect, and I don't want to change too much, but I also want to be me as an artist, Mary Sarah, and so I just tried to find a really good balance in between the two of keeping that classic sound that Shelley brought to the song that made it what it is. So I hope she's proud of it.
I'm sure she will be, and I know that she's taken time off of the business to raise her family, and I applaud her for that. Her daughter Tess is a beautiful singer, and
she is. Yeah.
I know that she did a little bit of recording with you, David, a couple years ago. You did a song called "Made in America," and she came in and sang on that with you.
She sure did, along with Marty Haggard.
Yeah,
he's on there as well. Well, I love them Haggard people, man. I love them people.
Oh,
love them boys. They're incredible.
Me too. So you guys have been doing a lot of television, a lot of interviews like this, and getting so much response. And I think it's wonderful in this day and age with all the resources that we have with internet radio, satellite radio, and television, all this stuff, that this is getting out to a whole brand new audience in addition to the people that remember this song originally. So you're carrying it forward into a whole new generation.
Thank you. You know what? I feel lucky to be that person and carry that baton like that. So thank you.
It's just a great song any way you look at it, and it was a great song when I first heard it on just a little cassette tape. Cassette tape, did I say? A little cassette tape. But that song actually just made Frizzell and West. I mean, that song was our song, and I've heard a lot of different people do it, over the years, a lot of other, folks sing it, and nobody else took it upon themselves to run with it. But Mary Sarah came along, and it just felt like the natural thing to do, was to kind of put her to be a part of it. And it's just great. I'm so proud of the fact that she is singing that part, and I'm still able to get up and do it. And I can't wait to get out on the road and show this young lady off. And show her off, because she is a lovely, lovely piece of work. There's no doubt about it. So thank you, Scott. Thank you, buddy.
Oh, well, thank you both. I appreciate you being on the show today. Mary Sarah, what's coming up for you as far as tour dates, and are you planning to do some more recording?
Yeah, I'm actually working on music right now, so we're getting back in the studio here in the next couple of weeks, as well as touring is kind of picking back up. Things are opening up again, which is thank you, Jesus.
Yeah.
I'm really excited about that. My first show was on July 17th in Tomball, Texas. So we'll be doing that, and that kind of kicks off, and we'll be adding dates as we go. And like we said, David and I are hoping on getting on the road together, so we're trying to kind of coincide our dates and see how that looks and where we can make that happen and get a show going. So, yep, new music and shows all happening in these next months. So keep an eye out.
marysarah.com is the website. David, I know that you are working on a lot of different projects, including a documentary for Lefty, and I always stay up on everything that David's got going on, because if you don't, he's so busy, he'll leave you in the dust real fast. So
I tell you what, I've been keeping this Lefty real close to me, all this time. And I've been trying to get different people, or some people, to come along and help me make a documentary, or, from my book that I wrote of the great Lefty Frizzell. I wrote this book from the time he was born until he left us. All of that is in that book. And after I got finished with that, I thought, well, what else can I do? So I read the book on audio tape. So I did that, and then I thought, what else can I do? There's got to be something else I can do with that. So we started doing tribute shows to the great Lefty Frizzell out around the country, and everybody at one time or another has been a part of that. Lacey J. Dalton, who is a pretty good beautiful friend of mine. I love this lady. And Marty Haggard's been on there. And a lot of different people have been on that show. And then I thought, well, there's got to be something. So I started hiring different people who I thought could write screenplay from a possible movie. And I hired 2 or 3 different people, and I finally ran out of money. So I never got anything that I really wanted. Finally, I just, I'm just going to have to write it myself, I guess. So I started writing screenplays, and I think we finally found something good. We had this last week, we had a man come in from L.A. and who is going to be a part of this the documentary, and is a producer of this sort of thing. And we're so happy to have him with us. And we're right now talking about doing the documentary and then possible movie after that of the great Lefty Frizzell. Wait till you see this one, Scott. Man. You got to come down and go with me. If there's a premiere, you got to go together on that.
Oh man, I will be there. You know I will be. We always have so much fun together. We got a standing date for a game of pool here pretty quick too, I think.
I tell you what, Scott was very, very great and just helpful actually. When I invited, I got a call from Freddie Hart. Everybody still remembers Freddie Hart, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. I got a call from Freddie, and he said, David, I want you to produce my last album. He said, I'm going to do an album, but I want you to produce it. And this is what, Scott, how long was that ago? That's only a couple, 2 or 3 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, 2018.
Freddie Hart called me, and he asked me if I would produce his last, he said, I know it's going to be my last album. He said, yeah, I'm 91 years old. He said, I said, well, goodness gracious. Well, my brother Lefty was instrumental in getting his first album done in about 1953, 54, something like that. And so he's the one that helped him get on Capitol Records, I think it was. And but here's Lefty was responsible for his first album, and David Frizzell did his last album.
Wow.
This great guy.
I love that.
And he had written a song called Lefty. It was called Lefty. And I brought him out from California, and he flew out here. Got here in time to do the show. I was doing the Midnight Jamboree. So Freddie was there, and Scott came down and helped us take care of Freddie for that whole week. We went to the studio after that the next day or so, and we did the whole album on Freddie Hart. And Scott stayed that whole time and helped with Freddie. Bless your heart, buddy.
Oh,
Bless your heart, buddy. That's what Freddie Hart would do.
That was the time of a lifetime. We had such a good time with that. It's a beautiful album, and that song is gorgeous. I know that that's something you've got in the works when the documentary comes out. Is you've got a tribute album coming out in conjunction with that, and I know that that's part of it. So I'm looking forward to that too. That is.
I've got different people on that tribute album that I'm doing for Lefty. Or when the documentary comes out and the movie comes out, I'm going to release that as well. My respects to the great Lefty Frizzell. Whoa, he was. Hey, we could talk for 4 or 5 days.
I know it. Well, I want to thank you both for taking the time.
Oh yeah,
and
absolutely.
David, you are.
It was so nice to get to chat with you. Hopefully, I'll get to meet you sometime. You're so fun. I love it.
Oh, I'm looking forward to it. You are part of the Frizzell family, which means you're also part of my family. And you are welcome on my show anytime, Mary Sarah.
Oh, thank you so much.
Fantastic, but thanks for having us, pal.
Well, thank you, David. I love you, my friend, and love from Sarah and Merritt, and give Joe our love and the dogs, and God bless you for this wonderful music, and we are going to play You're the Reason God Made Oklahoma, the 40th anniversary. This is David Frizzell and Mary Sarah. Thank you so much for being on My Kind of Country.
Thank you, pal.
Thank you. We'll talk soon.
Bye-bye now.
There's a full moon over Tulsa. I hope that it's shining on you. The nights are getting colder in Cherokee County. There's a blue northern passing through. I remember green eyes and a rancher's daughter, but remember is all that I do. Losing you left a pretty good cowboy with nothing to hold on to. Sundown came and I drove to town to drink a drink or two. You're the reason God made Oklahoma, God made Oklahoma, and I'm sure missing you. I'm sure missing you.
Hear the city lights out, shine the moon. I was just now thinking of you. Sometimes when the wind blows, you can see the mountains and all the way to Malibu. Well, everyone's a star here in LA County. You ought to see the things that they do. And all the cowboys down on the Sunset Strip, I wish they could be like you. Santa Monica Freeway sometimes makes a country girl blue. You're the reason God made Oklahoma. You're the reason God made Oklahoma, and I'm sure missing you.
I worked 10 hours on a John Deere tractor, just thinking of you all day.
I've got a calico cat and a two-room flat on a street in West LA.
You're the reason God made Oklahoma. You're the reason God made Oklahoma, and I'm sure missing you. I'm sure missing you.